How's it going, everybody? I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so that you can be notified when I go live or upload a new video. And please like this video. In this series, this is going to be like a mini series where there's going to be a lot of different parts to it. In this mini series, we're going to cover the life and death of Ted Bundy. He had a very interesting life and a very interesting death, to say the least. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to, in this part one, I'm going to discuss his youth and growing up. According to Ted Bundy, his childhood was uneventful. It appears as though he was an awkward child. Does his childhood offer some clues as to how he became a serial R? And follow along with me because I can't say the word, but you know what R is. And serial killer. Let's take a closer look. In November 24th, 1946, Bundy was born at a home for unwed mothers in Burlington, Vermont. His mother, Eleanor Lewis Colwell, considered placing her baby up for adoption, but her father, Sam Colwell, wanted to keep the baby in the family, not to adopt him out. They had Ted grow up to believe that Eleanor was his sister and not his mother. Ted hinted that he suspected that Eleanor was his mother because of the age difference and because it was Eleanor who took care of him. Ted's grandmother suffered from severe depression, and his grandfather it was known that he had a fierce temper. He took out his rage on cats, dogs, employees, and family members. Some experts believe that Ted was the result of Eleanor being AR'd by her father. Despite Eleanor's claims that she'd been seduced and abandoned by a war veteran, it's possible that he may have experienced physical and mental abuse at the hands of his grandfather. Ted has always maintained that he had a wonderful relationship with his grandfather, which seems, when Ted describes his childhood, it's all he would have you, it's all an illusion. He wants you to believe something that it just wasn't the case. But he would have you to believe that he had this wonderful relationship with his grandfather. Ted often exhibited disturbing behavior. One time his aunt woke up to find her toddler nephew placing knives near her as she slept. I mean, can you imagine waking up to that? I mean, I couldn't imagine waking up to that. She later stated that she remembered thinking at the time she was the only one who thought it was strange. She said no one did anything about his behavior, and she just thought it was strange that nobody else noticed the behavior. When Ted was 3 years old, he and Eleanor left Philadelphia for Tacoma, Washington. The move was difficult for him, and he missed Philadelphia. He became even more upset when his mother married Johnny Bundy, an Army hospital cook, in 1951. Ted flew into a jealous and deliberate public tantrum at Sears. Wetting his pants was just only part of the display. Despite a tense relationship between Ted and Johnny, Johnny still adopted Ted, giving him his last name. Eleanor always took good care of Ted physically, but Ted grew up resenting his mother. He resented being illegitimate. I think he resented also that he had to end up that all his life he had to call her sister. When in fact he probably suspected, he later said that he suspected that it was his mother, but now we don't know if that's true or not, if he actually did know. But Ted lacked social skills. He was unable to fit in with classmates in high school. He was a loner who only went on one date. He later explained, "It wasn't that I disliked women or were afraid of them. It was just that I didn't seem to have an inkling as to what to do about them." A fellow Boy Scout remembered Bundy once coming from behind to hit him over the head with a stick. It appeared he enjoyed scaring people. He once built a tiger trap. Now, if you guys don't know what a tiger trap is, it's something like you dig a hole and then you put spikes up and you cover it, and then it's meant for animals and things like that, to the best of my knowledge. However, there was a girl that had ended up falling into that tiger trap and hurting her leg. Ted began to shoplift ski equipment, and it's thought that he was trying to steal the ski equipment because he wanted the finer things in life. He wanted to be something that he wasn't. He wanted to live above his means. And as a teen, he attempted car theft and then became a peeping Tom. Now, when he attempted to steal this vehicle, the judge pretty much just gave him a slap on the wrist. But then, as I said, he became a peeping Tom. Although Bundy's first known victim was killed in 1974, he's thought to have had earlier victims. Many believe that one of those earlier victims were 8-year-old Anne Marie Burr, who disappeared from her Tacoma home in the middle of the night of August 31st, 1961. Bundy would have been 14 years old at that time, living just a few miles from the Burr home. It's possible Bundy was either spying on people's homes that night or may have met Anne Marie on his paper route or while visiting an uncle who also lived in the neighborhood. Bundy always denied being responsible for Anne Marie's disappearance, but many people believe, many of the experts believe that he is in fact responsible for her death, but it's something that he was not ever willing to admit to. Bundy would have you believe his childhood was normal, but those who knew him described him as lonely, awkward, never quite fitting in. The V word, once burning a cat alive. It was said that he liked to be in charge, inflict pain and suffering. And also, it was once said also that Ted's mother admitted to him what her father did to her. There were a lot of V and abuse in the home. Ted wanted people, like I was telling you earlier, to believe that he had a pleasant childhood with frog hunting, football lessons, marble playing, never lacking friends. But the truth is, it was not a very happy childhood for Ted. He was skinny, girly, awkward looking. He abused animals and was not kind to other children. It was said that he would take children into the woods and pretty much terrorize them. There are people that have heard screams from the woods. I'm not going to go into detail on what he did to the childhood or neighborhood kids in the woods on those occasions. It's pretty graphic, so you can just use your imagination. But it was pretty bad. In the next part of this, that's going to conclude this first part. In the second part, we are going to dig further into his life and things that he did. He was a very cunning, very smart individual, and many people say that he was narcissistic. You know, you all know what my beliefs are on that. Someone with narcissistic behavior, I believe that they're demonically possessed. There are people who know him that have said that his eyes were, the bluest blue. But when he is sitting there and he's talking about certain things, you could see his eyes turn black. And that is a very real thing. And I've witnessed that myself out of some people I've known. It is a very real thing, and it's a very scary thing, and it's something that you never want to encounter. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy this mini-series. It's something different than what we have been doing. So, yeah, I will be posting when I release part 2 of this series. You guys have a wonderful day.